Hello, everyone. My name is Ricky Degan, and welcome to my TLDR on hunting, fishing, and foraging, common rights and class relations in the postbellum South by Stephen Hahn. A little bit about our author before we begin. Stephen Hahn is currently a professor of history at NYU, where he specializes in 19th century United States, the history of slavery and emancipation, history of capitalism, and the history of the South. His book, A Nation Under Our Feet: Black Political Struggles in the Rural South from Slavery to the Great Migration, won a Pulitzer Prize Award in History in 2004. The article itself was published on October 1st, 1982, in the 26th issue of Radical History Review, released by Duke University Press. It focuses on the post Civil War South, and Hahn uses over 80 sources, including interviews, court cases, and articles from the 1800s, to highlight a pivotal period in American history where a shift in economic and racial dynamics would shape the views of a nation moving forward. Section 1 begins in South Carolina in 1875, where the Beach Island Farmers Club was taking severe measures and resolutions targeting trespassers and laborers from keeping stock on unassigned land. Their first offense would have their livestock impounded, while the second offense would have the livestock forfeited or destroyed. By 1878, the club supported a general stock law requiring animals to be enclosed rather than crops. Trespass, enclosure, and stock laws reflected a deep seated issue over land use and rights. Control of land access underpinned social relationships and was central to the post war Southern order. After the Civil War, Southern planters sought to reclaim freedmen's labor through coercion. Black codes, vagrancy laws, apprenticeship arrangements, and vigilante violence, where their goal was to tie freedmen to the land as propertyless labor force. Push for stricter game and stock laws showed that planters' control faced resistance. Competing claims over land and livestock helped reshape class relations and extended conflicts beyond plantations. Southern transitions affected all groups: planters, freedmen, and white family farms drawn into the cotton economy. Debates over common rights and unenclosed lands highlighted broader struggles over labor, property, and social hierarchy. Hahn states, what follows then is a preliminary exploration of mounting contention over common rights and their roles in reshaping the Southern class relations. Section 2 focuses on game laws, fence laws, and property rights. Land was freely bought and sold, or the phrase they use, fee simple, but most of it remained unenclosed and used as common land for hunting, fishing, and grazing. This was not law, but a custom for everyone to use the open land, to the point where even non landowners felt entitled to use the open land. Many Southerners rejected strict property laws, insisting on traditional rights to hunt and roam. A South Carolina court case showed this defiance when a hunter said that he would gladly chase deer across anyone's land because it was hunter's law anyhow. Planters feared that their habits would not only destroy their crops but would threaten their control and status, and prompted and pushed for game laws. Livestock roamed freely. Farmers would fence their crops but not their animals. Georgia's 1759 fence law detailed exactly how high and tight fences had to be, and if those fences did not meet standards, you could not claim any damages done by any sort of livestock. This system reflected a communal and self reliant rural life built on shared use of land. After trains began killing livestock, courts ruled that unenclosed lands was effectively common land, siding with farmers against railroads. These rulings reinforced the idea that Southern land use operated by shared rights, not by strict private ownership. Agricultural reformers wanted new laws requiring livestock to be enclosed, arguing open grazing was inefficient, while poorer farmers resisted, relying on the commons for survival and independence. Before the Civil War, slavery allowed planters to tolerate these shared rights, but as reformers gained ground, the tensions between private property and communal freedom grew, setting the stage for post war conflicts. In Section 3, it speaks about how emancipation upended labor and land relations. The end of slavery shattered the plantation labor system, creating a labor crisis for planters who could no longer control black labor through bondage. Freed people defined freedom through independence, leaving plantations, hunting, farming, and claiming land, not through wage work. The labor question quickly became the land question, as freed people sought ownership, hence the phrase 40 acres and a mule, while planters fought to prevent it. Black codes and vagrancy laws criminalized black mobility and self sufficiency, forcing freed people back into dependent labor. New trespass and property laws ended traditional common rights to hunt, fish, and graze on unenclosed lands. Planters disguised this conservation, claiming to protect resources while actually restricting freedom and enforcing labor discipline. Freedmen and small white farmers resisted these laws, defending open access to land as both an economic necessity and a symbol of liberty. Many continued to hunt, fish, and let livestock roam, acts of defiance that preserved older communal traditions. During Reconstruction, Black and Unionist political power limited planter control, but this would not last. After white conservatives redeemed Southern governments in the 1870s, they expanded game and stock laws statewide. Courts reinterpreted land rights, rejecting the idea of common pastures and upholding absolute private property. Resistance persisted, but by the 1880s, planters had reestablished dominance, replacing slavery's coercion with economic dependency. Post Reconstruction ideology reframed inequality as natural and social hierarchy as necessary for order. Planters embraced the free market as a new mechanism of control, equating property rights with civilization. The campaign for game and stock laws symbolized this shift, from a society grounded in communal access to one ruled by private ownership, labor discipline, and racial hierarchy. Section 4 speaks of the Gilded Era and grassroots resistance. In the late 19th century, commercial cotton farming spread from the Black Belt into hill country, drawing formerly self sufficient farmers into the market economy. Post war farmers relied on credit from merchants, mortgaging future crops, mainly cotton, to survive. Falling prices and high interest trapped many in debt, leading to foreclosures and new merchant landlords. Local elites promoted stock laws to abolish open range grazing and force enclosure, redefining land use in favor of property owners and consolidating control over small farmers. Small farmers and laborers resisted enclosure, viewing open range grazing as a God given communal right grounded in reciprocity and moral economy rather than private ownership. The stock law controversy highlighted a deeper post war struggle: capitalist modernization and property as luxury versus communal traditions of mutual dependence and shared rights. Section 5 speaks of post emancipation struggle over control. Across the South, from plantations to small farms, a core conflict defined the post war era: who controlled labor and land after emancipation. Upcountry farmers resisted elite dominance more effectively than those in plantation regions, yet all faced the same struggle over economic and social power. Southern elites increasingly aligned with Northern industrialists as a part of a national capitalist class. Both shared a belief in hierarchy, property protection, and strict labor discipline, revealing that the Southern transformation mirrored Gilded Era capitalism. Controlling labor, especially black labor, was central to Southern elitists, just as industrialists in the North sought to subdue workers through force or threat of force. Both regions used law and force to maintain order and restrict democratic participation. In response, small farmers and laborers across regions began to articulate a shared democratic language rooted in revolutionary ideals of independence and equality. These ideals foreshadowed the populist movements in 1890s, which united farmers around anti-elite, cooperative, and democratic principles challenging the new capitalist order.